Hey, are you trying to figure out why people aren't buying off your sales page or your landing page isn't converting well enough for your webinar or your lead magnet or whatever it is? Well, on this video, I'm going to show you how to use a heat map to figure that out. All right, let's get started. So I got onto this topic the other day because I was noticing in one of the groups that I'm in, a lot of people posting their their sales page and saying that their sales page isn't converting. And many people, including myself, were trying to give, some advice about how to fix it. And, whether that's change the headline or move an element around or do whatever it is to try to fix the page the best that they can. The problem with using stuff like that or trying to do something like that is that you're making, or, I would be telling people to do something based on no data, just on the fact that they said it didn't convert, didn't work, but that doesn't tell you anything. And so I was like, well, how do I diagnose my own? Well, I don't go in and ask a bunch of people to look at it, at least not after I have data on it. Now, in the beginning, like if you don't have any data, that's one thing. But if you have data, or you should have data, then you don't need to do that, at least not up front. The first thing you need to do is look at the numbers. So I was thinking about it. I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to tell these people exactly what I do, and that's why I'm making this video, because I want to show you exactly how I do it and how you can do it. It's not that complicated. There's nothing you have to buy here. This is a free software we're going to be using. It's called Microsoft Clarity. And by the way, I looked up quite a few videos on how to use Microsoft Clarity just because I want to see what other people were saying about it. And what I noticed, and this is no disrespect to the videos that I watched, but most of it seemed like it was tech people trying to talk marketing. Well, I'm the reverse. I'm a marketing person trying to talk about the tech. And that's really where we want to come from, because all the techie stuff doesn't really matter too much. We just need to get down to the raw numbers that matter. All the fluff, we just need to leave it out. So I'm doing this kind of off the cuff. I'm doing it messy. And I'm trying to do more videos that are just messy, because that's how life is. That's how business is. It's messy, just like my phone just went off. Well, I'm not going to edit that out. I don't care. You may have not heard it, but I heard it, right? So it's messy. It's just what happens. And if we're trying to get things perfect, that's not going to work. Same way with this. We're going to use Microsoft Clarity to get as much data as we can. Now, ideally, what we'd like to see is at least 100 people have visited the page. If you have less than 100, you can still use the data. It's just not, it doesn't seem to be quite as relevant. We want 100 visitors, but use what you have and do the best that you can. So you do have to install a little bit of code on the page, which I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. It's not complicated at all. It's a cut and paste job. And I was thinking I would do that towards the end of this video. So if that's what you're looking for, you're probably going to want to fast forward to closer to the end where I show you how to do it, which it won't take but just a minute. And I'm doing that way for a reason, because I want to kind of show you the sexy part of this first. The other thing is you might not know exactly what a heat map is, or maybe you've heard about it or whatever. And by the way, the videos that I watched, when they did talk about the heat map itself, they didn't really say what to do to fix it or how to analyze it. And that's kind of really the most important part. So a heat map essentially is just a piece of code that goes on your website or the pages you want to, track. It's kind of like Google Analytics, right? It goes on that page. And then you can kind of look and see how far people are scrolling down. You can see where people are clicking, where people are dropping off. And I'm going to show you how to do that. And again, this can be very high level. You can get as in detail as you want with this stuff, and that's certainly fine. But the first thing you want to do is just kind of keep it high level and understand the data that you are getting. All right, I hope that made sense. So let's go ahead and jump right into this real quick. If I can get myself, I always have the hardest time getting myself out of the way. So let's do that. All right, Ben, go. All right, so hopefully I'm out of the way. So here's what it looks like inside of Microsoft Clarity. And I don't want you to get caught up in all this stuff. I mean, it's all relevant, and I'm happy to go over it sometime, but I wouldn't worry about any of this stuff too much just yet when you're first getting started. So you want to go to heat maps. And when you're here, make sure you have this URL parameters turned off or on. Yeah, that's on. You want to have it turned off because you want to be able to see how many page visits there's been. So like if I'm looking at this page, there's been 265, and I mean, you can see that on down through here. And so, if I went down here, 20 may not be enough. But here, this is enough, so let's just take a look at it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to make sure I have a long enough time frame. This is going to default, just so you know, to 3 days. And so when you first start, it's going to look like that. I would suggest going ahead and changing that to at least 90 or more if you need to. And when you do that, save it as a segment. So I'm going to do that right now. Save as new. And I'm going to put last 90 days. And the reason is just because to me, this is a pain in the butt to have to keep changing. It's just not a simple thing to change. So now I can just go to the segment and click on it, and it'll automatically do it. All right. So that being said, let's just take a look at this one, the mastery bundle here. So I'm going to click on the heat map, take a quick look at it. So again, I'm doing this messy, and I'm doing it messy on purpose. So you can see right here, I can sort it by, what device they're looking at, but let's just, from a realistic standpoint, most everybody's looking at it from mobile. Okay, so let's just kind of focus on that for a moment. And as you can see, it's giving me a little bit of numbers here, so I can kind of hover over here, and I can kind of see it says 8 clicks, 6 clicks, right? And it also it'll correspond with these numbers over here. So if I clicked on number 4, it's talking about number 4, it's having 6 clicks. So people are clicking, and you can kind of see right there that people are clicking. And by the way, I'm sorry, I'm on this part that says tap. It defaults to this, so we're just kind of looking at the taps or clicks, as it were. And so people are clicking on this. So what does that tell me? Well, it tells me I might want to set that as a hyperlink to the checkout page. That might be a good thing for me to do because I'm having quite a few people literally tap on. Now, it could be just erroneous taps, right? Like they're just tapping so they can start scrolling. And it's not a true tap like they're trying to click through, but it's worth a test. So, but then I can scroll down through here and I can say, okay, well, 2 people clicked here, right? For some reason, somebody clicked here, okay, we got a couple people clicking here. If we keep going down, we have some people clicking here, watching this. A couple more people clicking here, and then clicking here. So you can see there's all kinds of different places where people are clicking the buttons, okay, to go to the next page. But is that helpful? Yeah, I think it is helpful because of this part right here. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look how far are people actually scrolling. So I'm going to click over here. So red means, and you can see down here it has the guide here. So it's the most popular is obviously at the top, which it should be. And you can also see the numbers here, 5% scrolled, how many visitors was that? Okay, yada, yada, yada. You can go down through that. And you can also click on this to correspond. So if I clicked on who got 20% down, then I can go there. So, but you can see here that people started here, and then here's the fold, right, for most people. And so just, I know that you probably know this, but the fold is just the part where they can't see it all on their phone screen. They have to scroll. And so you can see about 20, only 62% got here and actually started scrolling past this. So is this compelling enough? Well, that's the thing. Maybe it is. Maybe that's a good number, but maybe it's not a good number. So if I was going to focus on something, I might come in here and say, okay, I'm going to focus on this and change up, my headline, maybe change up the image, make it more compelling so that they scroll further down. And we're going to look at another page in just a second. I'll show you that in a minute. And so as I scroll down through here, you can see that only 32% of users reach this point. So somewhere between here and here, they're all dropping off. Like they're just not getting any, further past that. Maybe it's the price, $17. Maybe that's unappealing to them. Or maybe the value's not positioned very well up here. So as I scroll down through here, you can just kind of see what's going on. You can see what's, 25% get here, right? 20% get here. If I wanted them to watch the video, which this is just kind of a walkthrough of what they get. But if I wanted them to watch the video, I might put it higher up the page so I get more people to see it. And then you go down through here and you can see the rest of it. Then the other thing is that we can kind of look at the area. I kind of like this one best, just so you know. So right here is, 14% almost of people got clicks here. Okay. And then, you can see the percentages here. Okay. So some people, I had one click here, which I realize that's not a lot. And it's not really enough to say, okay, well, I need to change that or I need to make that clickable. But it is good to know so you can kind of pay attention to it as you go forward. And then you can just kind of scroll down through here and see the other things. So let's kind of look at another page as well. Let's see here. I think this is it. We're going to try it. It's the same page, but I had a coupon code on it. Okay, so this is the area part of it. Okay, so let's start here with the scroll first. All right, so basically this is the same page, except I added this languaging about a coupon code. And by the way, if you see stuff on here and it doesn't look right, like you can see those squares right there, that's just because when the heat map, the Microsoft Clarity is displaying it, it can't display it exactly as it looks in the browser. That's all. It doesn't mean it looks that way to the in person. So as we go down here again, we're at 75% right here. Okay, but if I look down here, this is bigger. So and by the way, there's one person right here. We can literally, that's interesting. I could literally click watch now and watch where they're scrolling while they're doing it. We're not going to, but we could. Excuse me. All right. So this, more people got through this part of it. Okay. Remember the other one was like 62%, and now we're at close to 70%. So that's a pretty big difference. So that coupon likely made a big difference because that was the only change. If I scroll down through here, I can just see again the percentages, and I can actually compare this to the other page. So if I click compare, like if that was important to you, then I could go, and again, I have to see how it has 3 days. This is why I said, well, I guess it doesn't allow you to change the segment right there. So let's just apply 90 days, okay? And I believe it was this one. Okay, and we're on scroll here and scroll here. Okay, so if I'm looking here, okay, the average fold right there, 75%. But if I get right there, we're at 62.3. Here I'm at 71.8, right in that area. So I mean, I can compare those things. And to me, stuff like that can be helpful, and I just kind of wanted to show it to you. What that looks like. So the other thing is let me go back to the area part of it. So I look here. So I think we have almost 10% clicking here. We have 16% clicking on this button, right? So these could be the same people. I mean, some of them could be the same, but almost 10% here, 16% here, another 10% here. So we scroll down through this. And then look, the one at the bottom, 26% of the clicks on the button to go to the next page made it all the way through. That's huge. That's a huge difference. And right here is 4.65%. That's just 2 clicks, clicked on this coupon code part. So I might want to make that clickable, right? So that they're clicking on, people are clicking on it. So hopefully that makes sense. Now there's all kinds of other. So what I hope that I've kind of conveyed here is now you know where to look and what's working and what's not working. So on this one, if I just look at the heat map part of it, the scroll part, and I say, okay, well, I'm getting people here. I'm getting, 70% of the people are getting here. So that's pretty decent. Okay, so I may not need to change that, but when it gets from there to here, okay, well, people are dropping off. Maybe these bullet points aren't as compelling as I think they are. Okay, or, how I have the video walkthrough, maybe I should take that video walkthrough and put it up here and see what happens if it's up here and see if I can get more people to watch that and people to keep scrolling. So that's the benefit of using these heat maps. The other thing is, and I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but you can actually connect Google Analytics with Microsoft Clarity, which is kind of a nice thing. So if you go over here to Google Analytics, now it's moved. There actually is an easier way to get to it, I think. Look here. So we can do it like right there. So now we can have Google Analytics in here, and you can set up the reports and stuff, and it'll just merge them over in here if you're using Google Analytics. If you're not, don't feel like you need to. Okay, this is more about using the heat maps to fix your page and stuff like that. Okay. Gosh, I know that was a lot, and I hope that made sense. So let me show you how to install the code real quick. And by the way, if you like this kind of stuff and you want to learn how to like build your Facebook group or build a group on Slack or school or whatever, I have some great tools to do that called the Group Building Blueprint. I'll include a link down here, but it's one of the best ways in 2025. It's going to be one of the best ways to build your business. Facebook groups, I have a whole video on I just did where, how relevant our Facebook group's going to be. Well, they're super relevant is the answer to that. Anyway, so let me show you how to do this. So when you first log into Microsoft Clarity, you're going to enter in the name of the page. Okay, you're going to go and hit New Project, just like right there, and we'll go right there, and then you select your industry, and we'll just say that, and then add new project. So now we have to install the code. Okay, so if I use Google Tag Manager. Now, if you're not familiar with Google Tag Manager, that's okay. You don't need to be. If you are familiar with Google Tag Manager, I'm not going to go through that because you should know how to do this. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I'm just saying you should. If you're using Google Tag Manager, you should know how to install this code. If you're not, then what you can do here is you can go install manually. And we're going to do copy to clipboard. And then you're going to go into wherever you're created your page. So like I'm just showing you in lead pages. So if you have WordPress, if you have ClickFunnels, it doesn't really matter. You go into there, whatever the software is, and you want to install this in the head code. Actually, I think they might tell you to install in the body. Let me see what it says. It says the head. See right there where it says head. Anyway, so I go back in, and I'm going to this analytics. Okay, see, I have Google Tag Manager on there, but just pretend like it's not there. If it's not there, then I would just paste it right here. Paste that code right there. That's all I have to do. And then I click save and then update, and it's done. Okay? So that's it. That's all you have to do. Now, it takes about a day to start tracking, so you're not going to see stuff immediately necessarily. But after a day, you'll start seeing some stuff pop up. I just want to warn you, don't get too excited. Because if you don't have, it depends on how much traffic you're getting, really. So if you don't have a lot of traffic, don't go in and make a bunch of changes just yet. Wait. Okay, wait till you get at least 100 visits or so. All right, that's really about it. If you have any questions on that, please let me know. I would love it if you subscribed. I'm going to try to do a couple of other videos that are probably a little more in detail than this is on using Microsoft Clarity, just because I know people want to know more about the recordings and how to use that, and then how to, configure Google Analytics with this and so forth. And that's all that techie stuff that I was talking about before. But it's, again, right for now, it's not super relevant. Right now, all you want to do is focus on the main things that are going to get you more sales or more opt-ins, whatever it is you're trying to get. All right. I appreciate it so much, and I'll catch you on the next one.